Good morning and welcome back, y'all. Thanks for joining us. So last week we had a really big week and I hope y'all enjoyed it as well. We took you guys on 8 straight days of adventuring and living in an RV so you can see what it's really like to full time on the road. Now it was so busy that this week was actually a planned down week. We're in Charleston, South Carolina, and we actually do have some adventures planned, but we also have some maintenance to take care of. And a lot of people ask, how do you take care of your truck and trailer while you're on the road? Well, it's not really much different than if you had a house. You're just in a different city whenever you decide to do it. So today, I'm gonna show you what it's really like to take care of your truck and your trailer while you're on the road full time. So today, we have a little bit of maintenance for the truck and the trailer we need to take care of. Now the truck stuff, it's pretty normal stuff. It's stuff that wouldn't change no matter where you were because it all requires a local business to take care of. Like we're gonna take care of changing the oil and getting the tires rotated. But the camper's a little bit different because sometimes you have to wait until you get to a campground that doesn't mind you doing a little bit of maintenance and a little bit of washing. This campground right here actually has no problem with it. So the first stop today is gonna be to change the oil in this truck. Now normally I would wait until the alarm came on saying it's time to change the oil, but it's so close to coming on that it's for sure gonna happen as soon as I move the camper next week. So we might as well take care of it today. Now we like to run a 5W40 full synthetic oil. We used to run exclusively the Shell Rotella, but when we started traveling, we noticed it was hard to stick with the same brand because you never know what kind of place is gonna be available in the town you're at. So when you have a big chain store, it's easy to stick with one brand. But if you find yourself at a local mom and pop, you may have to switch. So we've run Motorcraft and we have run Amasol before. As long as it's a 5W40 full synthetic, I will run it in this truck. Now our typical oil life is somewhere between 9 and 10,000 miles. There was one time, it was right after we got done pulling the camper through the mountains of Colorado, it made me change it at 7. All right, we got our oil changed and we're good to go. And the price wasn't too terrible. Now, when I had a house, I changed my oil because it was worth saving a few dollars. But now that we're on the road, the convenience factor far outweighs the cost savings because most campgrounds do not like it when you start changing the oil in your truck. Now, I will say one thing I will not pay for, and if you own a diesel, you should never pay for this yourself, is changing the fuel filters. Every place will charge you the cost of the fuel filter, which you can get online for the same cost, but then they charge you a 1 hour labor fee for 10 minutes of work. So it takes them 10 minutes to do the job. They're gonna charge you anywhere between $125 and $175 an hour. I will do 10 minutes of work to save $150. So anyway, our next stop is just right over there in that parking lot. It's Discount Tire to get these tires rotated. Okay, so we're at Discount Tire right now, and I'm here to get the tires rotated and balanced. Now for a dually to properly rotate and balance your tires, you have to take all the tires off the rims they're on and move them to the different rim. That's because the front rims are the front rims, the back outers are the outer rims, and then the back inners are the inner rims. They're not interchangeable because most of us have aluminum rims. So anyway, the first set of tires I had only made it 42,000 miles and they were a 60,000 mile tread warranty. Now that's because I didn't rotate a single time because most places on the road wanted to charge me $200 to rotate the tires. Now, I couldn't afford to do $200 every 10,000 miles. So I would have spent an extra $800 to rotate and balance tires. Well, that's more than half the cost of a new set of tires. So anyway, I did some research and found that Discount Tire will actually rotate and balance your tires the correct way for free. So I'm gonna do it the correct way this time and do it at every oil change to see if I get more than 42,000 miles out of these tires. So we just got done rotating and balancing the tires on the dually. Discount Tire did a great job. That's why we chose them, because no matter where we are in our travels, there's a Discount Tire not far away. But you have to give them some time because it's essentially like putting 6 new tires on the truck because they have to take all 6 tires off the rims they're on and put them on different rims. Anyway, we have one more stop before we head back to the RV, and that is to wash this truck. Now, I know you've seen me wash the truck recently in the past, but it needs a really good wash job. We finally are away from the beach now, and I need to go spray it off really good to make sure I get all the sand and salt off, and then we're gonna head back to the RV and do a real good clean job. just finished washing the truck, and I'm like most of you guys. I don't like to use a place like that to wash my truck because of what that brush will do your paint job. You have to be very careful, and I usually end up paying for it about every 3 months when I have to get the polisher out to go fix all the swirl marks, the abrasions, and the scuffs that come from using a place like that. But really, I'm just trying to maintain the truck looking as clean and as nice as possible in between the good washings. But anyway, that's more likely just a pre-wash, because now we're gonna head back to the camper and we're gonna do a thorough job with the quick detail spray and go over the entire truck and get it looking real nice. So you can tell it's the next day. So when we got back last night from washing the truck, we were running out of daylight, so I decided not to finish washing the truck and wait till today. So today, we're gonna finish up by wiping this truck down. And lately, I've been using this Mother CMX ceramic spray coating. It's actually really, really good. I like what it does to the paint job, and it makes it really smooth and super clean. I've tried the Meguiar's and it's also just as good, but right now we're giving Mother's a try. So I'll just spray it on, wipe it down with a microfiber cloth, and when it dries you come back with a new microfiber and clean up all the residue. See how good of a job this stuff does on the side of the truck. Look at that, that's the front door, and look at the camper reflecting in it. Stuff's pretty good. You have to walk through and look for all the spots you missed, because there is like a residue, almost like a wax. So after it dries a little bit, you have to go back and find all the little streaks, but it actually cleans up pretty good. And usually the longer you let it dry, the better it comes off. It's if you do it too soon, it kind of is still wet, then you just drag it everywhere. Stuff's pretty good, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of the truck up. Now that we have the outside of the truck looking good, it's time to start working on the inside. We're gonna start by vacuuming. Now our camper has a central vac system. This guy right here, this is actually on the outside of the camper in the storage bay. It actually has a hose where I could reach the truck. And I thought that's how I'd use it when we first got this camper. But we don't actually use that at all for very much. We actually use this guy. It's a battery-powered DeWalt vacuum cleaner. And it is super useful. It's actually so useful that we don't hardly ever use the central vac inside the camper, and we never use it outside. We actually use this guy right here for almost everything inside the camper, as well as on the outside of the camper and inside the truck. So I'm gonna get started vacuuming. I'm gonna show you how awesome this little thing is. All right, so this thing is pretty awesome. It's got this hose right here, and it comes with 2 attachments. This one right here, and this guy right here. You just turn it on and get to work. All right, we're all done with this. Now when I'm done, I'll take this battery, and I have a battery charger set up in my basement. So I'll let that one charge back up, and all these are ready to go. Now if you're interested in that vacuum cleaner, I'll link it down below, and I'll also link anything I talk about in this entire video. Now our next step is to wipe down the inside. So next up, we need to wipe down the inside of this truck, and to do that, we've actually partnered with a company called UltimateCloth, and they provide us with these guys. So instead of spraying stuff all over the dash inside the truck and wiping it off, all you need is water, and this thing will clean up everything you need to clean. See, it does a really good job of cleaning everything up, and we don't have to spray stuff that leaves a slimy grime if you don't wipe it all up. Now I was skeptical at first about this stuff, and just like Alicia was when she started using it in the camper, we actually use this for a lot of cleaning now, and if you're interested in giving it a try, you can go to their website, UltimateCloth.com, and use the discount code Paving New Paths, or you can just click the link in the description below and it'll save you 15%. Got the outside looking good, we got the inside looking good, and we even got the tires looking good. Now that's gonna do it for us as far as cleaning the truck up goes. There's a few more maintenance items we're gonna take care of, but right now I'm gonna get my maintenance box out and we're gonna start working on taking care of some of the things on this camper. This right here is my maintenance box, and it's full of everything I need to take care of this camper. Now I'm gonna show you each individual thing we have in there, but I'm gonna first read the list of all the things we're gonna take care of today. I had to make a list because it's kind of long. So we're gonna grease the hitch in the truck, we're gonna grease the pin box, we're gonna grease the suspension, we're gonna lubricate the slide seals, we're gonna lubricate the slide mechanisms, we're gonna lubricate our steps, the door rubbers, the door locks, we're gonna check the roof and the gutters, we're gonna check tire pressure, we're gonna lubricate the windows and doors, we're gonna change our water filters, we're gonna change our air filters, and we're gonna wipe it down. So first up, we're gonna take care of some of the greasing on the trailer. And we actually have 2 greases we use. We use this Lucas Oil red and tacky grease. I use that on our suspension components, on the pin box, and on the jaws on the hitch. And the second one is I have this black lithium grease, which I actually use on the hitch as well in the bed of the truck, but it's for the rubber bushings. So anyway, let's get started by taking care of the pin box and the hitch, and then we'll go check on the suspension. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to clean up our kingpin, and I'm going to just spray it with some WD-40 and clean it off really well. And then I'm going to apply a coat of the red and tacky grease to the kingpin itself. Now you see we use a lube plate, so we're actually not going to grease the 5th wheel plate, but we do like to put grease right here because it's metal on metal between the kingpin and the jaws of the hitch. Have the kingpin cleaned up really nice, and now we're going to put a small coat of grease around all this area that the jaws will interact with. So we're going to take some of our red and tacky, and we're just going to put it on our hands and do just like this. Just a small coat, just right there where the jaws engage the pen. Now that we've coated the kingpin with a small coat of grease, we're gonna go take care of the hitch in the back of our truck, and ours is a B&W Companion. For our B&W Companion hitch, there's only 2 things we have to grease. We're gonna put a small coat of grease around the jaws right here, and we're also gonna take this apart and grease the top of the horns with the rubber bushings. So we're gonna start by pulling the 5th wheel plate off the stand and greasing the rubber bushings first. So these are the rubber bushings on our 5th wheel plate. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean these off the same way. I'm gonna spray them with WD-40 and wipe them down. And then we're gonna do a fresh coat of the black lithium grease. We have the post cleaned up. Now we'll take our black lithium grease and put a small coat on each one of these rubber bushings. We've coated both of our rubber bushings with the black lithium grease, but before we put the 5th wheel plate back on, we're going to flip it over because there's one grease fitting right here underneath the 5th wheel head, and that's for the articulation. And we're going to pump it full of a few pumps of the red and tacky EP2 grease. Now that we have that greased and we have those lubricated, we're going to go ahead and flip our 5th wheel plate back over and reinstall it, and then we will grease the lock jaws. We have the 5th wheel plate reinstalled, and I went ahead and cleaned it off with WD-40 and got the jaws nice and clean. Now we're going to take and put some of the red and tacky right here on the jaws because it's metal on metal contact between the locking jaws and the kingpin. Now we run a lube plate right here, so we will not put grease right there because that's what that Teflon lube plate is for. All right, you can see we put a light coat of grease, the red and tacky, on the locking jaws on the 5th wheel hitch, and it's right there where the kingpin and the lock jaws engage. Now that we're done greasing the kingpin and the hitch in the bed of the truck, let's go take care of greasing the suspension on the trailer. We're underneath the trailer now, and our Green Design Momentum came stock with this guy right here only, the EcoFlex equalizers made by Lippert. Now we considered going to a full independent suspension and upgrading from the electric drum brakes to disc brakes, but I decided that was just spending money to spend money. So I decided to see how I could improve the stock system to make it more reliable without going overboard. So I went ahead and ordered the MORryde heavy duty shackles and wet bolt kit, as well as these MORryde cross members, which run from equalizer hanger to equalizer hanger against the frame rail. So it goes from that side all the way to that side, and we have one at each spot. So far I've been really impressed with this. It's definitely made everything tighter and more structural down here, and all I gotta do is crawl under here and grease these grease fittings about every other move. I think there's 22 of them. There's one back there behind that sewer tube, which is super convenient. There's 5 right here at this equalizer. There's 4 up there at that one, and then 1 at the very front, the front spring hanger. And as far as my opinion on these brakes, I've never not been able to stop this camper, and I can't say that I've ever been in a situation where I wish I had more stopping power. So far, I'm pretty happy with these electric brakes. If something ever were to happen that would cause a major issue as far as repairing, I would consider upgrading to the hydraulic disc brakes. But as for now, for almost 2 years, this system right here has done us just fine. So we just finished greasing all of our wet bolts down here, and I wanted to show you guys the MOLRIDE cross members from a different angle. So it starts over there on that frame rail and runs all the way across to that frame rail. And they're actually held in place by the pins that hold the equalizers to the frame. So once they're together, it really ties in the suspension from side to side. Now, if you don't want to spend a lot of money but want to upgrade the suspension you have, I suggest you get the MOLRIDE cross members, the heavy duty shackles, and the wet bolts, and I'll link everything in the description below. Okay, so that's gonna do it for all the greasing that we have to do on this camper and this truck. Now we're gonna start taking care of the slide mechanisms and the jacks on our camper, and we do that with this 3-in-1 slide out silicone lube. So we'll apply it to our 3-point leveling jacks and to all of our slide mechanisms. So we're gonna start with our jacks, and we got 6 of these, 2 in the front, 2 in the middle, and 2 in the back. And we'll just take the stuff and spray it right here on the rod of the cylinder and let it soak. And that's that. I'll just go repeat it 5 more times on the other jacks. All right, now that we've lubricated all of our jacks, next up is the slide mechanisms. So we're here at our main side, and we'll actually spray it on the cylinder rod as well as this bar right here to keep it lubricated, so when it slides in and out, it's not binding. So we'll get the rod of the cylinder good, as well as the top, the bottom where the teeth are for the rack, and the other side. And we'll just let it there dry, and it will coat it and keep it from collecting dust and debris. It's a silicone dry lube. Here's the other mechanism that is the non-cylinder side of our main slide. Do the same thing. We'll get the tubing, top and bottom, as well as the rack, and we'll just let it dry. We'll repeat the process on our refrigerator slide, the same as the main slide. And then right here on our bedroom slide, we actually had the Swintech. I will spray it right here, but I'll come back and I'll wipe up all the extra that drips off. So it's just right here in the rack. All right, so now all of our slide mechanisms are lubricated, and so is our jacks. Now we're gonna work on lubricating some of the rubbers around the camper. Now we're gonna work on lubricating our slide seals. And to do that, we need 2 things. We need this rubber seal conditioner, and we need that ladder right there, because without it, I can't reach the top of the slides. So here's how this works. I take some of this slide out seal conditioner, I spray it on this rag, and then I run it along the entire length of the rubber seal on the slide, because it helps clean and condition the slide seal, as well as keep it from baking in the sun, and it keeps it from sticking to the slide. So whenever you've had a slide in a certain position for a long time, when you first go to move it, you'll hear it have to break the suction. That's because this guy right here is sticking to this guy right here, or vice versa. The inside one's sticking to the inside of the slide. But we're gonna take care of doing all the ones on the outside right now, and you can see they run all the way up. That's why I need the ladder. And then we'll take care of the inside ones, the ones people forget about. You can see how much nicer they look once they're clean and conditioned. There's actually 2 sides, a top one that's really hard to get to, and a bottom one. And these actually take the most beating because they're in the sun all the time, but they're actually doing nothing right now because these are the seals that work when the slide is pushed in. Now I'm going to show you how to clean the inside of the slide seals, the ones that are actually sealing right now when your slide is in the out position. So we'll start with the bedroom slide, which is the easy slide to get to because it operates on its own. So we'll come over here and we will bring the slide in just a little bit so that we can get the seal away from the wall, and then we'll get access to lubricate it. All right, so our slide has been moved in some, and it gives us access to this seal. This is actually the seal that keeps your camper sealed when you have the slides out and are living in it. And it's the one that most people forget to lubricate because most of the time you had the slides out. And for us, we notice whenever we stay somewhere for about 3 weeks, when we go to pull the slides in, we hear it stick right here. And so cleaning and conditioning that seal actually prevents that from happening. So after we do this, it's gonna be pretty well lubricated and it won't stick to the slide when we go to move it next time. Now that we've lubricated the sides and the top, it's time to go ahead and push the slide back out. Now that I've shown you how to do the easy slide, which is the bedroom slide, it's a Swintic and it operates on its own. I'm going to show you how to take care of the hydraulic slides. So our camper is a Grand Design Momentum, and it actually has a hydraulic main slide, which consists of actually 2 slides. It's the living room with its own cylinder, and the refrigerator on the other side, which is its own cylinder. But when you hit the button, both of them move together. That's because they're tied together in the same circuit, but you can actually control each side individually. So for us, it's over here on the passenger side propane compartment, and you have this right here, which are needle valves to control each side of the camper slides. So we know that this one right here controls the refrigerator slide, and this one right here controls the living room slide. So for this example, we want to lubricate the seals on the refrigerator side. So we're going to leave this one in the normal position, which is fully left or counterclockwise, and that means that one is active, and we will close this one. So we'll go fully right or full counterclockwise to close it. Now, when we go to retract the slide a little bit to get access to the slide seal, only the refrigerator slide will move. And then when we're done, we'll come swap these and do the same thing to the living room slide. So we're inside the camper, and this is our main slide. We actually have a button right here under the counter, and I'll go ahead and hit the slides in, and only the refrigerator should move. All right, we're gonna let it come in enough to get access, and then we'll stop it, and you can see the living room slide did not move. So now that you have the slide in, you can get access to this seal and this wiper seal, and it's on both sides and the top. We actually have to stand on top of the island to gain access to clean the top. We'll go ahead and we'll lubricate those, and we'll push this slide back out. So we got all the slides lubricated, and now we'll put that slide back out. Now, we'll go outside and we'll swap those needle valves I showed you in our propane bay, and we'll make it to where that slide stays still and this slide comes in. So we just put the refrigerator slide back out. So we're gonna come back out here and we're gonna swap these 2 needle valves. So we want the refrigerator slide to stay still. So we're gonna close it off, go all the way to the right so it won't move. And we'll open this one up, which is all the way to the left, so that the main slide, that one right there, will move. And we'll go inside and we'll retract it in about 6 or 8 inches to get access to the seals, and then we'll lubricate them. We just finished conditioning the inside seals on the living room slide, and we have it back in the out position. Now we need to set these needle valves back up to normal operation, which is both of them fully counterclockwise or to the left, and then I like to turn them 1 turn to the right to control the speed that these slides come in. And now I'm going to show you some other uses for the seal conditioner on the outside of the camper. Okay, so I said I would show you some more uses for the slide seal conditioner on other parts of the camper, and we actually use it on our baggage doors right here. Every baggage door has a seal right there, and I'll go around and I will lubricate and condition those seals. So I will actually lubricate the front generator bay seal, the propane seal, which it's not really a seal to anything because it's open at the bottom, but it's still got a piece of rubber that needs to be lubricated. The baggage door seals, I'll come back here. Even the gas tank door has seals on it. And here's a big one. The back toy hauler door has a big seal around it. And I'll actually drop the toy hauler down, lubricate the rubber seal, and then put it back up. And then on this side, we really just have the TV door, which we hardly ever open. We actually forget it's there most of the time. And that baggage door. So anyway, now that I'm done with that, we can also do it on 2 other places. The main door. So we have that door right there and that door right there. And there's actually a pretty good little seal right here that you will see that runs around the entire thing. It's actually on the door. So you see it right here? We'll lubricate the entire door seal. So now that we have all the rubber seals lubricated on the doors and the baggage compartments, I forgot to lubricate these steps right here. And to do that, I actually go back to this, the slide out silicone lube, because it's a dry lube and it prevents it from picking up dust and debris while we're traveling. As you can see, we have a little bit of rust, and that happened the week we were parked on the beach. All right, now that I have it lubricated, I'm gonna move it a few times just to get it some action. Just work it in. All right, that's moving pretty smooth actually. We are gonna have to figure out what we're gonna need to do about that that little bit of corrosion we got from the week on the beach. That might involve a little bit of painting, but we'll save that for another day. So I'll also spray this stuff on the main steps right here, on that guy right there that slides in and out. I'll do it on both sides and on the pivoting feet on the bottom. Another thing that we started having problems with when we started living full time was every one of these baggage doors right here. You see these locks they have, or basically every door on the outside has a lock like that. Well, when you start traveling a lot, it picks up road grime, dirt, and debris, and it makes the key hard to turn the lock. Well, we started using this right here, this window and track dry lube. We spray it in the lock and then insert the key and cycle the lock a few times just to keep them lubricated. And because it's a dry lube, it doesn't really pick up much when you're traveling down the road. Another place that we actually use this window and dry lube is actually on the windows, but not in the tracks. We use it on the mechanism to open it and on this rubber seal right here, which if you don't open your windows a lot, this rubber seal gets really sticky and it makes it really hard to open the windows. All right, so I just went around the entire camper and I've lubricated and cycled each baggage door compartment that has a lock on it, and I've made sure that it's working smooth. Now we're gonna head inside and we're gonna change all the filters in the AC units. Up next, we need to change the filters and the AC units. And this is the bedroom. We have one in the main living room and we have one in the girls' room. And we actually use these right here. These are called Fulltime RVs. And ours is the FT616. It's for the Coleman Mach 7, which is what we have. We actually have to order 3 packages. It comes 2 to a pack. And we usually get these off Amazon and just have them shipped to whatever campground we are at. So I'm gonna go ahead and change these out. It says they're good for 90 days, but we've never gotten more than about 30 days use out of them because we live in it full time and RV ACs really move some air. So we got the filters changed in the AC units for the main room, the girls' room, and our bedroom. Now it's time to go take care of the water filters. So up next, we have to change our water filters, and we have this Camco and line filter we're going to change, and we actually have an onboard filter from our RV, and we'll use this filter to change that. And I'll link both of these in the description below. Now to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and kill the water pressure, and then I use this splitter right here to bleed off my system. And once the water's bled off, it's just a matter of changing the filters. All right, you can see that is the old filter. That's only 1 month old. This is what a new filter looks like. It was definitely in need of a change. It's time to head up on the roof and do an inspection and clean the gutter. Ever since we got our new roof by RV Armor, there's not really any maintenance to do up here. We just basically come up here and inspect it to make sure there's nothing we need to worry about. And we start with the front cap. So there's nothing new going on there. And then we come over here and we'll check the gutters to make sure there's nothing in the gutters preventing them from draining. And then we come back to our skylight and we check to see there's nothing wrong with the intrusion. Same with the max air fan, same with our sewer vent. We check right here if this is our attic vent. There's another max air fan. There's the back bathroom max air fan. There's the back bathroom vent. There is our solar prep, which has actually been sealed all the way over. And then we have the rear AC and the rear cap. We just got done checking out the roof and everything looks just fine. I will say it's probably getting close for a good scrubbing up there because we're starting to see some of the stains from all these trees we park around. But it's nothing a little elbow grease can't take care of, but I'm not gonna do that today. That's for another time. Now, our last thing to do on this camper, maintenance-wise, is we're gonna check the air pressure in the tires. So we just got done checking all the air pressures and all the tires, and they're all good. Our tires take 110 PSI, but we already knew the answer before we checked because we have a TPMS system. It's actually called TireLink, and it syncs up with our One Control app inside the camper. So, whenever I log in with my phone, I can set the pressure limits and the temperature limits. And if one of them gets out of whack, I get a notification on my cell phone letting me know there's something I need to look at. But if I needed air pressure in them, I would have come over to my truck, and I have an onboard air system with a tank and a compressor that puts out 200 PSI. So I tie in to this remote air chuck on my bumper, and it can actually reach to this side of the camper and that side of the camper without moving the truck. That's how much hose I have. So if you're interested in how I set that system up and installed it, I'll link it in the description below and you can check it out yourself. That's gonna do it for us for taking care of this camper and this truck while living on the road. Just like we schedule downtime for ourselves, we also schedule downtime to take care of our camper and our truck, because without our equipment, we couldn't do any of this. So now I hope y'all enjoyed hanging out with us. Now, if you have anything that you do differently or something that I missed, let me know in the comments down below. I was gonna wipe it down, but the weatherman says in 2 days it's gonna rain again. So sorry, truck, you're about to get dirty again. But I'm not gonna wipe you down until the rain stops. So anyway, hope y'all enjoyed it. See y'all later.